But thank you so much for coming to our show virtually.
It was a
One
long journey. I had to change trains 3 times, and the L train was delayed, and then it was raining as I was walking from the station, but I finally made it to the show, so here I am.
Thank you. One of the reasons I wanted to invite you to this show is that you were probably the first person to release worthwhile quarantine content with Keep It Chill in the East Phil, which came out in March. And I remember it well because me and my girlfriend at the time had a coronavirus, and she
Okay.
ran and was like, "Oh, Jeffrey Lewis has a new song." And we watched it and loved it. And I was very impressed with how quickly you turned around. I think this was in mid March. Turned around and wrote a song about the condition of that time. And I was curious how long that took, and if that was kind of a natural outlet for you right off the bat when things were getting crazy to write a song about it.
Yeah, I've I recently came up with a little. I'm always coming up with these little life metaphors, that the way like a rat's teeth just grow and grow and will apparently like if you have a pet hamster, you got to give them some cardboard or some carrots to chew
Yeah.
on, otherwise they'll just die because their teeth are going to grow through their brain and kill them or something. And that's kind of how I realize that that's like a good metaphor for the human brain. I'll probably end up making a song out of that or something. That sounds like a Jeffrey Lewis song in the making. But like I'll think myself into all sorts of bad places unless I can give my brain something to work on that is, some cardboard to chew on, so the teeth of my brain don't end up hurting me. I think it's a very good thing to be engaged with, making stuff of
Yeah.
any kind, just engaged in anything. I don't know why. For me, sometimes that means making songs. For maybe for some people that means playing a video game or something. But yeah, the turnaround on that song was incredibly rapid in terms of I wrote it, recorded it, I sent it to a friend of mine who has a radio show in England, and he immediately played it on his radio show. And then all these people were like, people were like, "Oh, I heard your new song on the radio in England." And then BBC World News like contacted me to interview me for BBC World News about artists creating content about the coronavirus. It was like all of us. It was incredibly rapid. But what's also ironic is that it's also it's like gone that moment. Writing a topical song might be the right song for that moment, but that moment is not here anymore. Um,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Well, like a lot. Some of the stuff that I listen to um, is a lot of early '60s folk music, which is very topical. And Phil Oakes, one of my favorite songwriters, his first album is called "All the News That's Fit to Sing." Um, and there's a lot of songs on that record, a lot of his early songs that are about specific things that might have been in the newspaper that week. And some of those songs are great, but what was he going to do with them a month later or even 2 weeks later? Because I think Keep It Chill in the Eastville was a great song for March 15th, but the situation has really shifted. Our knowledge, our sense of what is happening and what might be happening feels quite different now 2 months later or whatever. What has it been? 2.5 months later.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so I've yeah, I mean that song might be gone. I don't know.
I think it still applies for the most part. I mean, things certainly have gotten maybe worse, but you've also written some other stuff about with treating the virus like it's little microscopic Nazis, and also that Mother Nature's like kicking our asses back for all that we've done. So it seems like you've approached it in a few different ways over the
Yeah,
course of.
Mother Nature says you're grounded. That
Yeah.
one is like maybe my favorite of all Coronas. I mean, I just keep writing these. I have this somewhat ludicrous method of doing all the things that I want to do, which is that I have this little list of things, about 17 things on here. So one of them is drawing in my sketchbook. One of them is songwriting in this notebook. One of them is working on a cover for my new comic book. One of them is working on a vinyl reissue of one of my old albums. One of them is rescheduling the tour date. I was supposed to be on tour right now with my band, but obviously that's not happening. So rescheduling the tour dates. So all of those different tasks, and there's many more, I set a little 1 hour timer, and I spend 1 hour on, I try to do 1 hour on each thing. And then when the timer goes off, it's been 1 hour, I put a little colored check mark next to, comic book work, sketchbook work, songwriting, 1 hour, the hour's up, I check mark. So I try to do 1 hour on each of these things every day. And that's been a very good way to keep my time structured and to keep feeling like I'm incrementally moving towards all the things I want to move towards during this time.
Yeah. Have you found in one of your songs, Lockdown Lunatic, you talk about how there's stuff you want to work on, but also stuff you still want to skip. Have you found this to be a creatively inspiring time or more stifling?
Creatively, very inspiring, actually. It's been quite wonderful to just it really, right from the get-go, from the first week. I mean, now I keep writing on the calendar what day it's been. I'm just like a prisoner on a, like everybody, we're all just on our little rocket ships beaming messages to Houston, but we're all on the rocket beaming messages to each other. And I'm like like a prisoner doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 check marks on the wall, or marking on a little desert island. So I've been indoors, whatever, I don't know, I can't read my calendar from here, but it's like about 70 days. But the point being that one thing that I've discovered is that I'm less social than I thought I was. Like I'm not calling people all that. I'm not like, oh my God, I can't hang out with people, I need to call them or do FaceTime stuff. I'm kind of like, wow, now I can work on my stuff. And right from the first week or so, I was like, my God, am I turning into that guy in the Twilight Zone episode, the Time Enough at Last, the famous episode where he's like, finally the nuclear apocalypse, now I get to read all the books that I wanted to. You ever see that episode? It's one of the classic old black and white Twilight Zone episodes, Time Enough at Last. So in some ways, that's kind of what it's like. It's like, I don't have to go out to any gigs or, meet anybody at a bar. I can just work on all my stupid projects.
I felt kind of similarly. I think I'm a writer and I get distracted with how awful things are sometimes. So at times it stops me from working because I'm so glued to the news. But it is like kind of a relief to not have anything that you're missing at any one given moment.
Oh yeah,
great excuse to stay inside.
No more FOMO. This is the most. There's no fear of missing out on anything. That's an interesting perspective. How does life feel with no fear of we're not missing out on anything? That's weird. That's pretty weird.
Yeah. But I also can't wait for it to end in a lot of ways, even though it is nice in other ways.
We're gonna have some whatever happens. I mean, there's gonna be some kind of weird PTSD from this experience where we. How quickly are we going to forget this? How quickly are we just going to be like, whatever, I
think it'll be a while.
Yeah. At some point, there's just going to be something else that happened. Like the same way, the Twin Towers got destroyed. And for a certain period of time, it seemed like a completely unreal, impossible event. And then it morphed, like everything else, becomes something that happened.
Yeah. But it's still impacting our lives every day, every time we take a flight. I do think this will, in a way. I wanted to talk about a few specific lyrics that I loved in the new work. One of which is a pun. This in Keep It Chill. This Beastie Boy is not licensed to ill, which is a pun based on a pun in an album title. which I thought was a great way to say you don't want to get sick. I think, um, and also if you're short of breath, it's that old Black Death getting medieval on our modern asses, um, which as a word person, I love looking up and finding out about the origins of phrases like that. And I don't, do you know the origin of getting medieval? Because I think you might find it interesting.
Oh, well, I mean, I just, like most people, I got it from Pulp Fiction. I don't know if it goes back earlier than that.
That is where most people got it, but it actually comes from a comic strip in 1971. I will show it to you from an Ohio newspaper called the Lima News. And then as you do comics as well, I wanted to just share that with you real quick. It is, oh, what the heck happened there? What happened? Oh, here it is. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And should I turn chicken now? Should I hide from Mary Perkins because she might mean danger? Naturally not. I get medieval from time to time. You must try to love me enough to overcome it, dearest. I think that's great.
Who tracked it down to that as the earliest iteration? Although maybe somebody might exhume some even earlier instant. It's like the people who know the first use of this word was in 1641.
Yeah, there are a lot of words on last month's show. We talked about a lot of words that people don't know the origin from. I find it endlessly fascinating. And in another song, which Preserve Our Federal Reserve, you talk a lot about something that I instantly thought about when all this was happening, which was protecting our cultural institutions in the form of musicians like Bob Dylan, which also is full of puns, like putting Bob Dylan and his instruments in a subterranean homesick basement underneath Fort Knox. Where is there anyone in particular that inspired you to think about, like, oh no, I don't want this person to be in danger?
Oh, well, that was specifically about John Prine, because that was the first time, and whenever that was maybe March 20th or something. When I heard that John Prine was sick with COVID-19, and he eventually did die of it. But
Yeah.
that was the spark in my mind, like, oh my God, if old people are susceptible to this, some of America's greatest treasures are these artists, these lifelong artists that are at a level of artistry and greatness, but are also incredibly delicate. And if we as a nation are not real, like, whether they want to or not, that just struck me as a funny concept, like whether they want to or not, like, we can't afford to let Bob Dylan get killed by corona. Like, just freaking arrest him and throw him underneath Fort Knox, like protect him like a batch of gold or something. And so I started to make a little list of, like, who are the great American artists who are, older and potentially in danger. And what if we don't prioritize? I mean, obviously everybody should be prioritized, and, everybody's parents and grandparents and everybody of all ages. But just that moment of realizing that John Prine might die of this, and he did,
Yeah.
it just inspired. I just immediately sat down and wrote that song. Just as soon as I had that thought, I was like, okay, I'm writing this song.
Yeah, I love the way you integrate their songs into it. Stevie Wonder just called to say I love you. I love that.
That was, I was very proud of that line. Don't just make sure Stevie, don't dare see him in person. Make sure he just calls to say I love you. That was, sometimes I have a tendency. Some of my songs get too depressing and dark and very mopey and hopeless, and then other songs get a little too silly and, like, what is this guy, like a comedian, like, what is he? And I've thought of it like baseball, in the sense that when I'm getting too silly, it's like a foul ball down one side, and when I'm getting too mopey, it's like a foul ball down the other side. And my goal is to just smack one right down the middle that just soars into the cosmos, that has all of those human elements of the tragedy and the comedy of human life, and everything else about human life, the mystery and the occasional pun. So I you know, I do sometimes get sillier than I think of some great songwriters and I'm like, would they have gotten this silly? I don't know. Maybe they would have. A lot of great songwriters get silly sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think you walk that line very well of being, a lot of your songs are very funny, which is one of the reasons I thought of you for this. But there's so much brilliance in the way that you weave it all together and tell a story. Including, I mean, when I've seen you live, I think the last time saw you live, you told the story of the Cuban Missile Crisis with with a comic accompaniment, which is something I don't know. I can't think of any other musician who's told uh, historical stories in that way. Are you working on anything along those lines right now?
Well, my friend, right here on category number 14 of the things I try to spend 1 hour on each day is researching the history of Chile, because my next illustrated song is going to, I've been wanting to work on this for a while. I want to tell the story of what happened in Chile in the early 70s, because this is a topic that the more I learn about it, the more mind-blowing it becomes to me. And it was particularly relevant before Bernie Sanders dropped out of the presidential race, because it was almost like, okay, everybody, you think you can you can democratically elect a socialist leader? Well, here's what happened when they did that in Chile. And the people who were anti-socialist really did not like it, and they didn't like it so much that it turned into a real nightmare. So it was almost like a science fiction cautionary tale about what if Bernie Sanders gets elected. Like, here is one direction things might go if people aren't careful. So, but I've been wanting to do, even before the presidential stuff, the story of Chile was something that I had in my mind. That these are all topics that I don't know anything about. These are all topics that I get curious about, and then I basically assign myself like a book report. I'm like, oh, what should I learn? What would be an interesting topic to learn about? And then I just try to figure out some way that I can make a presentation to show the audience about something that I find interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear. I would have thought that was stuff you already knew about, but that's really cool. I wish we could go on about this stuff forever, but I think we need to move on. But if you want to play a game with us, we're gonna move into that. Would you like that?
All right. Well, you guys are you dazzle me with your brilliance and wit, so I might just hold back and I'll hang out. I'll definitely hang out. But okay, no, I'll play. I'm not going to chicken out. I'll throw my hat in the ring here.
And I think you probably know a heck of a lot about music, so I think you have that. So let's invite everyone back, including our other musicians, Jacqueline and Miles.
Yeah, we're not that intimidating. Don't be fooled.
I've been so those puns. I love that stuff, man. You guys are killing me. I was like, these people are so smart and so funny. I'm just so delighted and pleased with the whole show. So keep up all the stuff that you're doing, and I really got so much of a kick out of the whole night.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, this is a punny game, so I'm gonna share my screen. It's called Full Mental Jacket. And I'll give you an example. It's basically, I'm going to give you a clue that is a text clue based on an album cover, the look of an album cover, the content on the, not necessarily the content of the album, but the album cover. And you are going to guess it. So for an example, this is bolded to make it a little easier. If we pool all our money, we can get this baby some clothes.
La la la. Never mind.
I have to say la 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 if I know the answer, right? That's the way this works.
Jeffrey, what do you say?
Oh, well, I'm gonna guess never mind. Yes. As the album cover, but I just wanted to. The reason that I was the reason I was butting in was because, just so I'm clear on the rules, if I want to guess an answer, I have to say la la la. That's how this works?
Right. That's the buzz-in.
That's the buzz.
Okay. Another kind of easy one. Why did the 4 rhythmic insects cross the road?
Oh, la la la.
La. Not fair.
Yes, Abbey Road.
I'll be the only one I knew.
That's easy-ish one with the bolding. Doled out straight from the factory.
La La La.
Jersey.
Velvet Underground, self-titled.
Velvet Underground, Nico.
Oh, nice.
I was gonna say Andy Warhol, but that didn't.
I was gonna do a Dandy Warhols because they also have the banana on the cover of Welcome to the Monkey House.
Miles, what's that puppet you have or that figure you have on
What?
You're holding a toy?
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
What?
So many questions.
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Okay, great. You're fired. It's a little harder.
It's the Pink Floyd one. Wait, La La La.
Yeah, Tim.
Pink Floyd. Yeah, that one. Pink Floyd. Yeah, Wish You Were Here.
This is my favorite one. Just Prism.
Oh.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Allie?
You do it.
Isn't that Pink Floyd The Wall?
No,
There's
Yeah.
Okay.
That one. This photo developed swiftly.
La.
Allie.
I'm embarrassed that I know this, but it's Taylor Swift, 1989.
Yep.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
I'm not chiming in.
Am I embarrassed? No, I'm not embarrassed. I embrace that. I am not embarrassed.
That's fine.
Full street.
Am I? I don't know.
How about the Cabas?
The cabal.
It's the back of a train, right? It must be.
Well,
Wait.
La La La.
Jeffrey?
Born in the USA.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, Caboose. That's good.
That's good.
Nebraska? Like what is it?
If a criminal, this one's based on the title more than the cover. Well, actually, just the title. If a criminal was made king, that blankle blank. Oh, I mean blank blank.
Wood.
Was made king.
Wood something. Rock. Wood rock.
That Purple Rain.
Purple Rain.
All right.
Very good.
Now I'm staying in this position for as long as I can. This one's hard, I think.
Yoga.
I think this one might be hard.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I would not have
That's
gotten
good. I like that.
Never.
Mull it over. Not so Harry Potter. Oh God.
Oh boy.
Bald. Wait. Not so hairy.
Not so
Wizard.
Mullet and Harry.
Not so Harry Potter.
Mullet over. Haircut.
This is a very iconic one.
It's a pot. Somebody's making a pot on the album cover?
No, it's because he has.
Oh, the lightning. I get it.
Yeah, okay. That works.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
I was thinking Steve Miller Band Abracadabra.
I don't know what that looks like.
I was just picturing
Okay.
bald people.
As always, these games are a journey inside of Nikolai's mind.
Yeah, learning
Right.
so much about each other through these exercises.
Also, a lot of these are puns themselves. Aladdin saying is a pun.
Yeah.
This one's kind of easy. I can see your stones rolling down your pants.
La la.
Oh.
There it is.
Sticky fingers.
Yep. Another Warhol cover.
Not stones.
What brought the kids to the pool again? Lake again. Miles, you'll know this one. Oops.
What's her face?
My brain is just doing Karen jokes.
Think about what's her face. Who's got no face?
Like someone who's had an incident with a rabbit.
Oh.
Wait, why do I still not? I don't know what this is. Is that a potato?
Neutral Milk Hotel.
This was that tweet.
I like this record. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's my contribution for that.
A little harder, I think. These medical supplies let me know she cares.
Needle.
Is this
wait.
Blink 182? Is this a joke about Blink 182?
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would have guessed that. Yep.
Surprises.
If Southland Tales.
Fab 58.
Did the Fab Five put out an album?
The Fab 50.
I'd like to know a band that has 58 members.
Polyphonic
All
Space.
right, there you go. I guess that's it.
Oh.
There's 58 people on it.
Okay.
This one's a little harder. There's a plus 44 number on caller ID, and he's pissed about it.
Is this a B44 album?
Think about what the plus 44
Angry,
is.
mad.
Plus 44.
Right, la.
Oh, wait, you got it first.
Calling the Clash.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
Oh.
No,
Okay. Yep.
Oh, I gotcha.
They all make sense after the fact.
Yeah, there's a lot of sighing.
Oh, that's that. Whoops.
Well.
Oh no.
Well,
Could it,
Hard to guess
could
in
it be
this
bad?
the Condor of the hurdle race mopped up the competition. Anyone?
A wop bop a bamboo.
Yeah.
Oh,
This one was hard anyway.
wow.
It has been a pleasure to smell your armpits. One of my favorite record covers.
Black Eyed Peas.
Um,
I'm trying to think of beans.
Maybe more of a deep cut.
Is this Can?
What?
Is this Can?
No, it's
Edge Gomyazi? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh, okay.
That
Life
is-
flashes before your guys.
Is
This
Ferris
is a-
Bueller on the cover of anything?
Life.
Uh,
Life.
What causes your life to flash before your eyes?
Death. Wait,
Death.
near death experience.
So, and there's a bunch of guys.
Men at work. Oh,
Oh.
This is a hard
Yeah,
one.
okay, he's holding the gun. That checks.
okay. Okay.
works.
oh.
You.
Mm.
Last one.
Hill
Misty,
song.
oh, blah, blah, blah. Misty Mountain Hop?
No.
Led Zeppelin? No.
Nope.
Houses of the Holy? No, that's
Everest.
It's a very famous one. But
A
not
famous
a great,
mountain.
not a great clue. Very famous.
Oh,
Rocky.
Yours?
Kid A.
What?
Kid A.
Oh no, but close.
What'd you say, Chips?
oh.
Kid A. Radiohead. Kid A.
It's straight.
Oh.
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 Wait, what is this? I don't know what this
I
is.
don't know what this is either.
I just feel like it's a very, more people know this than they know the album, but
What is
including
it?
Who's the artist?
Pleasures.
Bye.
Joy Division.
Oh. Okay.
I
I
saw,
need you to like truly spell it out for me.
Yeah, just say
They're
it.
marketing the face mask with the
Very literal.
unknown
Yeah.
players out around.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I got to get one of those if I ever go outside again.
So that
You
is
look
actually
so tangers. You've been outside.
That's true.
that's the end of the show, guys. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Jacqueline West, Miles Robbins, Jeffrey Lewis, our panelists, Ali Spears, Sam Corbin, Tim Donnelly, our producer and chat queen, Jersey Gostowski, and Caveat for hosting us, and everyone that's watching and donating.
Thank you.
If you'd like more puns beamed directly into your home, you can watch the first virtual Punnerdome, which is where we all met on June 4th at 7 p.m. That is going to be the first virtual Punnerdome, and some of us will be competing. I know I will. And our next show is on June 20th with our host, Jersey Gwizdowski.
Yeah, we don't know what the theme will be yet, but it'll be great.
No. And
We got to thank Childish Gambino. We got to thank L7, and of course, no
Kirby Checker.
Yankovic, and thanks to Tom Plant,
Thank you, Tom Plant,
Thomas
so
Plant.
much.
the God.
And
Ugh,
now that the show is technically over, if any of our musicians want to play anything, I'm gonna just dedicate the rest of the stream to whoever wants to play. If
A
anyone
little
wants to
outro music.
chime in.
yeah, we have like 5 minutes before we have to leave.
Yeah.
All right, I'll-
Goodbye
I'll
song
do it
sounds
along.
great.
Since
Yeah.
Great.
Very good.
Do it.
I'll go silent. I'll go dark.
Me
Everyone
too.
mute.
Yeah, same.
all right,
Thank you.
let's see here. You mentioned this one. Or this is another recent Corona song. Well, they attacked and we couldn't stop it till it became a worldwide topic. So from every land and sea, now this is World War III, but the Nazis are microscopic. I hate war and I just want peace, man, but I guess to everything there comes a season. At first our politicians tried to appease them, but microscopic Nazis don't listen or reason. They just blitzkrieged every nation, a worldwide Nazi virus invasion. So I'm indoors today, because the surest way to kill a micro-Nazi is starvation. So starve, virus, starve. Starve, virus, starve. You think this shutdown is so hard? I'm gonna see you micro-Nazis starve. So okay, you little smart-ass virus. You really think you can tire us? You little jerks, you just inspire us. Before you die, we're gonna make you admire us. Everybody hunker down with me. We're gonna fight this World War III. And to win this war, we'll just say shut some more. We're on the beach indoors, because this is Normandy. So staying put sideline on these benches. We're the foot soldiers in these trenches. If we want to knock those little suckers senseless, it's just starvation now, against which they're defenseless. So starve, virus, starve. Starve, virus, starve. You think this shutdown is so hard? I'm gonna see you micro-Nazis starve. Because when you're careless, you just feed them. And that's not how we're gonna beat them. But every day and every way that we just stay Captain, you and me together are a worldwide weapon. So starve, virus, starve. Starve, virus, starve. You think this shutdown is so hard? I'm gonna see you micro-Nazis starve. Well, they attacked and we couldn't stop it until it became a worldwide topic. So from every land and sea, now this is World War III, but the Nazis are microscopic. They just blitzkrieged every nation, a worldwide Nazi virus invasion. So I'm indoors today, because the surest way to kill a micro-Nazi is starvation. So starve, virus, starve. Starve, virus, starve. You think this shutdown is so hard? I'm gonna see you micro-Nazis starve. All right, keep fighting, everybody. Keep up the good work. Stay safe.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so great. Yes.